The mask of deception. Imagine standing before someone who was manipulated, deceived, and drained the very essence of your spirit. They walk among us presenting an illusion so convincing that even they have come to believe it. They appear kind, generous, even deeply spiritual. But beneath their well-crafted image lies a different truth, a heart of selfishness and obsession with control, and a soul untouched by genuine love. Now imagine this. What if you had the power to expose them? What if one simple question could strip away their facade, leaving them vulnerable, powerless, and without a mask to hide behind today? We are going to uncover that one powerful question, a question that will not only reveal their true nature, but will also set you free from their manipulation. In their control and their ability to distort your reality. Stay with me, because once you learn this, you will never see a narcissist the same way again. A grand illusion. The false kingdom of the narcissist. There are those who do not merely walk among us, but move through the world as though it were a stage. Every step choreographed, every word rehearsed, every gesture precisely calculated to elicit the response they crave. They do not live in truth because truth demands humility, and humility would require them to surrender the throne they have built for themselves in the minds of others. Instead, they construct a kingdom not of righteousness, not of faith, not of service, but of illusion, a world in which they reign supreme, where their image is their greatest possession, and where those around them are not fellow souls in need of love, but an audience from whom they extract admiration, obedience, and unwavering devotion. Jesus warned of such people in Matthew 23:5-7. He spoke of the pharmacies, saying everything they do is done for people to see. They love the place of honor at banquets and the most important seats in the synagogues. They love to be greeted with respect in the marketplaces and to be called rabbi by others. These are not just ancient words about long forgotten men. They are a warning about the spirit of narcissism that has existed throughout history and continues to plague the hearts of those who refuse to bow before God. A narcissist does not seek truth because truth exposes. They do not seek love because love requires sacrifice. They do not seek growth because growth demands repentance. Instead, they seek worship, subtle disgust. Guys, but worship nonetheless. At first glance, they appear as men and women of influence, charismatic, articulate, seemingly wise. They possess the uncanny ability to make others feel seen, valued, and chosen, and for a time, it seems as though their presence is a gift, their words dripping with inside their lives, marked by extraordinary purpose. But upon closer examination, the illusion begins to crumble. Their kindness, once thought to be genuine, reveals itself to be conditional, withdrawn the moment admiration fades. That humility, once believed to be authentic, is nothing more than a calculated performance, a means to reinforce their self-importance. Their generosity, once received with gratitude, is merely an investment, an unspoken contract designed to bind others in obligation and eternal gratitude. But what is most disturbing is not their deception of others, but their deception of themselves. They do not simply wear a mask, they become the mask. They do not just act out a role, they convince themselves they are the role. They do not just manipulate reality, they begin to believe the very lies they tell. Their entire existence becomes an exhausting, never-ending attempt to avoid the one thing they fear the most, the realization that without Without admiration, without control, without the applause of those they seek to impress, they are nothing. This is why they perform, always performing, always ensuring the applause never stops, always shifting, adapting, and recalibrating to ensure that the illusion remains intact. They will be whatever they need to be: pious, kind, selfless, wise. If it means securing the validation they cannot live without, if appearing humble and them admiration, they will appear humble. If acting righteous makes them untouchable, they will act righteous. If imitating virtue grants them control, they will imitate. But beneath the curated perfection, beneath the polished words and the carefully sculpted image, lies the one thing they cannot confront: emptiness. A soul disconnected from truth, a heart void of real love, a self that has never known authenticity. They live not in pursuit of God, but in pursuit of perception, not for the glory of heaven, but for the fleeting glory of human approval, not in the certainty of faith, but in the fragile, ever changing opinions of others, as they are not building a legacy of righteousness, but a house of mirrors, one where every reflection shows them as they wish to be seen, yet none reveal who they truly are. And the great tragedy of it all is that they believe they are winning, they believe they are untouchable, invincible beyond reproach. But what they do not see is that their kingdom is already crumbling, for in the end, the illusion always shatters, the mosque always cracks. And when the applause finally fades, when the audience disperses, when there is no one left to admire, what remains means nothing. This is the grand illusion of the narcissist. They appear to be everything, but without an audience. They are nothing at all. The power of manipulation, how they control you. A narcissist's greatest weapon is not their charm, their intelligence, or even their ability to inspire admiration. It is their ability to distort reality itself. They do not simply deceive, they rewrite the truth before your very eyes. They do not just lie, they make you doubt what is real. Their power is not in their words, but in their ability to make you question your own perception, your own instincts, your own mind. And once they achieve this, once they have made you second guess your own clarity, they have gained exactly what they desire: control. Have you ever walked away from a conversation with someone knowing deep in your soul that they were in the wrong, yet somehow you were the one apologizing? Have you ever confronted a person with indisputable facts only to leave the discussion feeling as though you were the villain? Have you ever tried to bring up your pain only for them to turn the focus on to your reaction, as if your emotions rather than their actions with the real problem is not mere miscommunication? This is not misunderstanding, this is manipulation, and it is intentional. A narcissist world is not built on truth, it is built on control. They're not interested in resolution because resolution requires honesty. They are not interested in reconciliation because reconciliation demands accountability. They are not interested in love because love is selfless, and they only love what serves them. What they seek is domination. Every conversation is a battle to be won. Every disagreement is a game of strategy. Every interaction is a chance to establish their superiority and ensure that they remain the one holding the power. And this is how they do it. They twist your words. You may enter a conversation with clarity, with carefully chosen words, with an open heart, for within moments you find yourself tangled in confusion, defending things you never said, explaining things you never meant, trying to prove a reality you once thought was undeniable. They rewrite the past. If confronted with something they have done, they will not only deny it, but they will refrain history itself. That never happened, you're remembering it wrong, you're too sensitive. And before you know it, you are not only questioning them, you are questioning yourself. They use your emotions against you. If you are hurt, they will say you are overreacting. If you are angry, they will say you are unstable. If you try to set boundaries, they will call you cruel. You will find yourself defending not what was done to you, but the way you responded. They create chaos where none exists. When the facts are against them, they will not seek clarity. They will see confusion. They will derail the conversation, introduce irrelevant arguments, turn small issues into major crises until you are so mentally exhausted that you surrender, not because they were right, but because you can no longer endure the battle. This is how they win, not by proving themselves right, but by making you question your ability to see what is real. And here is the most sinister part: they do it all while appearing innocent. They will not scream, they will not rage, they will not always fight with aggression. Instead, they will tilt their head side deeply and with feigned sorrows. Say, "I just don't understand why you're so upset." And suddenly you are no longer standing on solid ground. Suddenly you are explaining yourself. Suddenly you are the one defending your emotions. And just like that, the truth is no longer about them, it is about you. This is not a mistake, this is a tactic analysis. This does not need to make you love them, they only need to make you doubt yourself. Because the moment you begin questioning your own judgment, your own worth, your own mind, you have already given them the power they desire. They will never say, "I was wrong." They will never say, "I hurt you." They will never say, "I see your pain and I take responsibility." Instead, they will manipulate the moment, shift the focus, and leave you wondering if the problem was ever real to begin with. But hear me now, the problem is real, your pain is real, what they did is real. And the confusion you feel is not a sign that you are mistaken. It is a sign that they have succeeded in making you doubt the truth. To what do you do? How do you fight against someone who does not operate in truth? How do you expose someone who thrives in deception? How do you confront a person whose entire existence is dedicated to never being held accountable? The answer is simple: you do not play their game. The moment you seek fairness from the unfair, you have already lost. The moment you expect truth from a deceiver, you have already given them the upper hand. The moment you try to reason with the person whose only goal is control, you have stepped into the battlefield they created, one designed for you to lose. And so you must step outside of it entirely. You must refuse to engage on their terms. You must recognize the manipulation for what it is and understand that you were never the problem. They only made you believe that you were. For as long as they can keep you entangled in their web, they have power. But the moment you stop reacting the way they expect, the moment you no longer need them to validate your reality, the moment you see through their deception and stand firm in the truth that God, not them, defines your worth, they lose everything. Because at their core, a narcissist's greatest power is not in their manipulation, it is in your willingness to believe it. So today, I say this to you: see clearly, stand firm, and never let a deceiver convince you that your truth is a lie. The one question that exposes a narcissist does not exist in truth, but in the perception they carefully manufacture. Their entire world is not built on substance, but on illusion. They do not strive to be good, righteous, or self-aware, because such qualities require humility and accountability. Two things they will never embrace. Instead, they strive to be admired, feared, and untouchable. They do not seek genuine relationships. They seek obedience, control, and unwavering devotion. A sense of identity does not come from within nor from God, but from how others respond to them. They do not live for truth, but for validation. They are not concerned with who they truly are, only with how they are perceived. And as long as they can dictate the narrative, as long as they can manipulate the way people see them, they believe they are invincible. Yet their entire existence is a performance. Every interaction, every conversation, every act of generosity is meticulously designed to serve one ultimate goal: to sustain their illusion of superiority. Their kindness is never an extension of love. It is a tactic to ensure loyalty. The humility is not a reflection of true care. Actor, it is a veil to conceal their pride. Their vulnerability is not genuine. It is a tool used to draw sympathy and secure control. And the most dangerous part, they have become so skilled deception that they believe their own lies, but there is a weakness they cannot outrun. Beneath their polished exterior, beneath their carefully rehearsed persona, beneath the mask they were so effortlessly lies the truth they desperately avoid. They have no real identity apart from the admiration of others. Take away the audience, and the illusion collapses. Take away the validation, and they are left with nothing but the terrifying reality they refuse to confront: that without control, without praise, without the constant reassurance of their false greatness, they do not know who they are. So, how do you expose them? How do you dismantle the carefully constructed image they have spent years perfecting? How do you force them to confront the emptiness they cannot acknowledge? You do not argue with them, because they will twist your words. You do not try to make them understand your pain, because they will turn it against you. You do not seek accountability, because they will shift the blame. Instead, you ask one question, one simple, devastating question: who are you? And no one is watching. No accusations, no anger, no room for argument, just truth, unavoidable, undenied. I of both truth. Watch their reaction, watch the hesitation, the flicker of confusion, the subtle tension in their expression. Watch the way their posture shifts, the way their carefully crafted confidence falters for just a moment. They were prepared for a fight. They were prepared to manipulate, to gaslight, to turn the conversation into another exercising control. But they were not prepared for this, because this question does something no amount of confrontation ever could. It strips away the illusion and forces them to face the one thing they have spent their entire life running from: themselves. They may laugh, scoff, brush it off as ridiculous. They may attempt to change the subject, redirect the question, or even throw it back at you. But make no mistake, inside something is unraveling for the first time. They must confront the horrifying reality that without admiration, without control, without the constant stream of validation they so desperately they are nothing. They are not loved for who they are, because they have never allowed themselves to be truly known. They are not respected for their integrity, because they have built their reputation on manipulation, not character. They are not admired for their wisdom, because wisdom requires self-awareness, and they have spent their entire existence avoiding the truth of who they are. This is why they perform. This is why they construct elaborate illusions. This is why they cling so desperately to control. Because if they ever stop, if they ever allow the applause to fade, if they ever find themselves alone with nothing left to manipulate, what remains? Nothing. No depth knows. Self, no true identity, only the remnants of a lifetime spent constructing a false image. And that, more than anything, is what they fear the most. So today, if you have ever been entangled in the deception of a narcissist, If you have ever doubted your reality because they made you, question yourself. If you have ever been left exhausted, broken, and confused by their endless games, hear this now. You hold the power the moment you stop seeking their validation, the moment you recognize that their manipulation was never a reflection of your worth, but of their own emptiness. The moment you see the illusion for what it is, they lose all control over you. You do not need to fight them. You do not need to prove them wrong. You do not need to wait for an apology that will never come. All you need to do is step away from the deception and stand firm in the truth, because once you see through the illusion, you are no longer bound by it. If this message speaks to you, if you have ever been manipulated, if you have ever felt trapped in someone else's deception, I want you to declare today that you are free. Comment below. I see through the illusion. Let the enemy know that his power over your mind has been broken. Let those who once sought to control all you see that their influence has crumbled, and above all, let yourself be reminded that you were never the problem. Then need for control was, and now you are walking in truth, the biblical truth about narcissism. There is nothing new about the spirit of narcissism. It has existed since the beginning of time, disguised in power, pride, and self exaltation. It is the spirit that whispered in the air of loose, saying you deserve more. It is the same spirit that convinced Eve you will be like God. It is the same spirit that drove Pharaoh to enslave God's people, that led King Saul to destroy himself with jealousy, that filled the hearts of the Pharisees as they stood before Jesus, blinded by their arrogance, unwilling to see the truth. The Bible speaks clearly about people like this in Timothy 3:2-5. Paul warns people will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not love. As of the good, treacherous, rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying its power, have nothing to do with such people. Did you catch that? Having a form of godliness, but denying its power. Narcissists are not always loud and boastful. Sometimes they disguise themselves as righteous, as humble, as spiritually wise. They know the right words, the right prayers, the right way to present themselves as holy. They quote scripture. They preach about love. They pretend to serve others, but their hearts remain unchanged. They use the appearance of godliness as a weapon, a tool for control, a means to keep others in submission. They do not seek the presence of God. They seek the admiration of men. Look at the Pharisees. They were religious leaders honored by society, regarded as men of great wisdom and holiness, yet Jesus exposed them for what they truly were: hypocrites, manipulators, whitewashed tombs. In Matthew 23:27, he declared, "Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You are like whitewashed tombs, which look beautiful on the outside, but on the inside awful, full of the bones of the dead and everything unclean." A narcissist like the Pharisees is obsessed with image, but void of truth. They spend their lives polishing the outside, ensuring that others see them as wise, kind, generous, and holy. But inside, where no one can see, their hearts are selfish, controlling, prideful, and completely resistant to God's correction. They live for human praise, not for divine approval. They may appear righteous, but they deny the power of true righteousness, because true righteousness requires humility, and a narcissist will never bow. But what Scripture tells us have nothing to do with such people. The Bible is not ambiguous. It does not say convince them to change. It does not say try to fix them. It does not say endure their manipulation and hope for the best. It says have nothing to do with them. Because a narcissist will not change unless they are willing to be broken before God. They will not hear you unless they first hear him. The truth is God resists the proud. James 4:6 says God opposes the proud, but shows favor to the humble. A narcissist may rise to positions of power, or may gather followers, may build an empire of influence. But it is all temporary. No deception lasts forever. No illusion can stand against the truth of God. No empire built on pride will remain standing when judgment comes. God will not be mocked. Every false kingdom will fall. Every proud heart will be brought low. Every mask will be stripped away. If you have ever been manipulated by someone like